On the family blog, Michelle revealed the best advice she received from a friend is to always be available, and by that she meant women should always have sex with their husbands, even if they are tired. So when you are exhausted at the end of the day, maybe from dealing with little ones, and you fall into bed so exhausted at night, don't forget about him because you and he are the only ones who can have that time together, she advised. No one else in the world can meet that need. According to the Duggars in their book, Growing Up Duggar, texting is a no-go in relationships. Sometimes even just the thought of a guy texting you, or chatting with you through the internet world can make you think, maybe he likes me. They wrote. But remember, when a young man who has no commitment, or obligation to you is flirting with you through texting or the like, it's probable that he is also flirting with many other girls in the same way, and even at the same time. Because the Duggars are so vehemently anti-text, they advise parents to keep an eye on what their children are sending, especially if they are communicating with their soon-to-be spouses. But also, keep in mind that we are not talking about young teenagers. The Duggars believe that, as long as you are unmarried, your parents should monitor your text messages, even if you are in your 20s. Don't be afraid to get involved in your kids' relationships, Jim Bob said during an episode. The Duggars believe men are sexual creatures who can't control themselves, especially if they are around women who are not dressed modestly, as in not wearing tacky, floor-length denim skirts. Whenever this happens, the Duggars advise women to warn their husbands with a code word. For them, it's Nike. That's a signal to the boys, and even to Dad, that they should nonchalantly drop their eyes, and look down at their shoes as we walk past her, they wrote in their book. It's meant to help keep the guy's eyes from seeing things they should not be seeing. By using the single word signal, the warning can be given quietly and discreetly. We guess this isn't a big surprise since the Duggars always preach about covering up and dressing modestly. However, they think it's women's jobs to police their husbands' lustful thoughts. Women have a responsibility not to dress, or act in a way that builds up sensual desires in guys, they wrote in Growing Up Duggar. A lot of religions preach no sex before marriage, and that's fine by us, but the Duggars take it to an extreme degree. Just take a look at the insane analogy Michelle used when writing about purity in their book, A Love That Multiplies. What if we were at a meeting with about 100 other people, and the speaker asked that a large cup be passed around, and that everyone spit in the cup? What if you happened to be all the way in the back, the last person on the last row, and when the cup finally came to you the speaker asked you to drink out of the cup? What would you do? That's what it's like if you have intimate physical relations with several partners. Like seriously, Michelle? The Duggars are known to get married off rather young and rather quickly. Jill thinks the speedy rush to the altar is good, if you want to keep your relationship safe from sin. You may not want to push the wedding date out too far, as those natural God-given desires with too much time between engagement and marriage can make it harder to remain pure, Jill told the New York Post. If you are financially ready, and things are in place, we believe an engagement should only be long enough to plan a wedding. As you may know, the Duggars believe in courtships, which in their words is dating with a purpose. A couple who is courting doesn't really go on dates, and in fact, the whole thing sounds like a business transaction. Courting is getting to know each other in a group setting, both families spending time together, and the couple setting goals together to determine if they are meant to marry, Jim Bob said. With dating, a couple will often pair off alone, and that sometimes leads to a more physical relationship. Because men are just a ticking time bomb of lustful urges, the Duggars recommend not letting two young people of the opposite sex be alone together before marriage. During the courting process, they advise to always have a chaperone present to make sure any sin does not happen. Chaperones are the accountability, Michelle wrote on her blog. What that means is they are allowed to say, "Hey, are you supposed to be doing that?" The Duggars believe the easiest way to not succumb to desire is to, well, keep your hands and lips to yourself. A lot of times if you are alone with the person, it can create desires that can kind of get stirred up, and you don't have any accountability, and that can kind of lead to some hanky-panky, Jim Bob said on the show. All we can say is Duggars have a unique way of life which they follow, and are hugely rewarded in counting on. So it's working for them, and frankly it's their business and not ours. Will you dare follow any of these Duggar rules in your life?